This is day 263 of the Arukh HaShulchan OC. If you would like to sponsor an upcoming share or more of the Arukh HaShulchan OC, please contact me directly. It would be very much appreciated. Today we are doing Siman Kupe Aleph Sib Zayin, finishing then Hilchos Suda, and beginning Hilchos Birchos Hamazon. We're going on to Kupe Beis Sif Daled. So, Kupe Aleph Sif Zayin says, "My machlonim ein olim agabe karka." We do not to wash my machlonim on the ground. They should ruach ra shroel them because they're considered to have a ruach ra el bekli. You should wash on in a kli. And we come ein voyada betoch hakli rak lishpok mi hakli ayadayim. But nevertheless, you're not supposed to dip your hands in the bad kli, only to spill from the kli on your hands, like with mine rishayim. Only with the middle waters between milk and meat, or between dogim with basar, between fish and meat, allowed to dip your hands into the vessel, to those who are accustomed to wash that washing. Not for not for my mashayim, nor for my machronim. If you don't have a vessel, you can pour on the ground. Some people are lenient to pour on the ground, but according to Levush, you should be machmir on this. But the Arukh HaShulchan says not that way. HaShulchan says the rock al karka shora ruach ra below ritzpa. Only on the ground is ruach ra, not on the floor. And I have seen people doing ma'achronim on the floor inside houses when there's no vessel. If there is no floor in the house, you wash your hands on eitzim dakim on thin pieces of wood. Okay, it says in similar, it's right between the water and the ground. This also you cannot obtain. Karka you should wash in the ground, some place where people do not normally go. You can also therefore wash under the table, where people do not normally go. You don't use hot water if it's so hot that it would burn the hand. Because it burns the hand. But they soften the hands, and they do not remove the pollution. Therefore, it's preferable to use actual cold water. The Mishnah Berurah says that that lukewarm water, which is not Yatz L'Lisbo, is okay. The Rashal says specifically cold water, but if he doesn't have any other water besides lukewarm water, you do not be machmir. Mishnah Berurah also writes that Mishnah Berurah also writes that well, we know this, but he says that in general that it's Yad Shiad Nichvesbo is not the shear, but actually even Yad Soledesbo would be a problem. But if it's not Yad Soledesbo, it's okay. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. So you have to wash the second knuckle in the fingers. Up to there you get your hands dirty because of eating. The Mishnah Berurah says that the thumb you only have to wash until the first knuckle. He also writes if the food gets higher up, then you have to wash higher up. But Halacha writes the Birgra is clear that you have to wash until the end of the knuckles, where they connect with the palm. And it's because the Gra is well known to require Revius, so we assume that he also requires that that reach the same place in Mayim Rishonim reach, which is, according to many shittas, up to the end of the fingers. But it's supposed to you have to put your hands down so that the dirt comes off. Because any type of beverage to wash my machronim. Mishnah Berurah says that when you have water, you should not use other beverages. With wine you should not use even if you don't have water. And because obviously it's chashuv not to be losing its purpose. You can even use water which you can't use for Mayim Rishonim, such as they've been used for work, and they're not completely clean. But ain't working bracha on my machlonim. Don't make a bracha on my machlonim commotion is bar as we have explained. But niguv they don't require drying. Because of the tzarich niguv, but the Rambam disagrees and also require drying. Mishpura seems to hold that the mechaber is maker, but the chatchila it's best to dry your hands in order to be able to say every shita. But back to Arukh HaShulchan niguv. Some have written the name of Yam Shlema that only the person benching, the lead benching, has to dry his hands. So that he should dry his hands and then make the bracha. But everybody else is not required niguv. It's not required drying the hands. The Sharetz, evidently that's where the one person, the Sharetz says that that's only where one person is being motzi, everybody else. But today, we have everybody benches, therefore everybody should dry their hands. What are the things that differentiate Mayim Rishonim and Mayim Achronim? The first waters before the meal require revius. And the last waters only require enough to rinse your hands. Rishonim ain't no limit to keli. The Mayim Rishonim need to out of vessel, but Achronim mikol out of anything. You don't require human power. It's a poil themselves, but if you have a chatzitza in your hand, an interruption between the water and the fingers, that does not render ma'achronim possible. And any water is kosher ma'achronim, even though they've been used for work. Even they're very muddy. Even if a cow would not drink that. And even the water from the hot springs, which are bitter. We don't wash by half. You can wash by half. When you rub with your hand, your body or the wall, you need another netila, but lo b'achron not by my machron kalashon. All these are halacha. V'da, you should know sha'isi sheish makbin shlo yeh revius b'mayim achronim. Rak pachas revius dafka. There are in Chassidim u'makid machron specifically less than revius. U'matzatzi b'shum makom. Haven't found it any place. V'kam l'gdolei dor shlo nagu kain, and some l'gdolei dor do not have that custom. But no, the revius, yes, revius, and those are revius, and even more than revius. Mishnah says that the base yoy supposed to Mayim Achronim don't require shear, only enough to rinse your hands, but then how the grow was noyek to use specifically a revius. The Arukh says Shamati is the time is that Luis Kabel Etzli. He heard a reason, but he didn't accept it. And the reason given by the Palestinians is that Mayim Achronim goes to the other side, the Sitra Akra, and therefore, because that's a rock raw. And therefore, or that's why it has a rachra, and therefore you should give it that sitra as little as possible. The person who's going to lead benching, washes first. The came from also bracha, since they're going to be him with the birchos hamazon. Also covered in washing. But when is this true? When they're up to 5 people, including the person who's leading benching. The Shiru Chachami record Shemeshel Zman Shitlu Arba. Listen to this. During the time that the 4 next people will be washing, Yain Belibo without brachas berachas hamazon shlo yitamahen. It's going to be mine the brachas berachas hamazon, not to make a mistake. Therefore, there are more than 5. It's not proper for him to wash and then wait for everybody to wash. And furthermore, both the chatchila ain't kedai lapsik go kach. It's preferable not to interrupt so much. The techem until the bracha immediately after the tefillah should come to bracha. Ba'ava b'yishberim sifal the dibur lavi hefsek. Even though we said that talking is strictly not a hefsek, because shesikan certainly not silence. Become nevertheless ain't kedai so it's preferable not to make an interruption possible. Therefore, you should start with the other ones washing their hands. And, until you get to the last 5. Mishabura says, even though the minhag is that everybody makes the branches for themselves, the din is not different. And also today, you should all say the bracha silently with the mevarech who says it out loud. And also, because says zimun, the mevarech has to say before, in front of everybody else, therefore he has to be ma'ayin a little bit to begin with, just like, in other words, it's kind of like a secher, more than a secher, he's saying. Since he has to leave because says zimun, he might want to look at it first. So therefore, even today we give him time. Bilacha writes that today that everybody makes the bracha among themselves. It's appropriate that the water, they should spread they should do several mayim achronim on the table, like have several receptacles for it. Not just one cup for everybody who's there, because that will make a big hefsek for those who wash their hands at first. So best to do something more efficient. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. You told me you can call them. You don't mechabit other people to wash before you. It's not a kibbutz to say your hands are dirty, or to extend the kibbutz with dirty hands. They should wash rather than order as they're sitting around the table until you get to the last five. And then the person's benching should take, and then the other 4 times she's bar in order that he should be ma'ayin during that time. Not just mine as that. So much. That, of course, we still do. Shir Hamalos Ba'al Babel is definitely a rarity. Salik Hilchos Seuda. And how we begin. The cup used for Birchas Hamazon, and that it should not be damaged. Aleph. Aram Masor Perek Sayin Brachos Pasak Birchas Hamazon and Tunikos. Birchas Hamazon, strictly speaking, does not require a cup of wine, obviously, upon which to be said, or any other beverage, which is appropriate. All those poskim say no cup necessary. Say, oh, you need a cup even when you are an individual without a zimun. So all those people hold that you do need a cup. Of course, Maimonides, the name of the reader, Rabbi Nachman says only when you're batching with zimun you need a cup. If there are less than 3 people, you don't require a cup. If there are 3 people, you do require a cup. Evidently, it's another Kabbalistic source. Because they wrote the people who are concerned about this when they're benching by themselves. They keep the cup on the table. They don't take it in their hands. Because people are not sure about this. When the Zohar is it forbidden to take up with an individual? The Zohar just says you don't have to. So why not take it in your hands? I'm not going to say learn how to do a coast club. Custom is not to use a cup at all. Because wine and other beverages is expensive by us. And basically we only drink water. And it seems that we decided to take as primary insert coast, which holds that you do not require a cup. Nevertheless, those people are makbid to be barach al-kos when there's a zimun, if you can get the wine. The Shibur Sharatzin say that from the Zohar, it seems that a yachid should not make a bracha on the cup. And therefore, it is appropriate the minute that people don't hold their hands. Because the Ikar in the Zohar sounds like it's specifically not to hold in your hand, like people who are holding their hands for the bracha, and that's not like the Bach, and so therefore you would put it on the table. Now, years ago when I was learning Shalvim, I asked the Rivos Ephraim, this is according to the bracha, if one can use coffee and for kosher bracha, and if it's kedai to be machmir, if there's room to be machmir, even be yachid, and he said yes on both accounts. So for a while I was quite frum and benching as an individual on a cup of coffee, but that did not last so long. The Maisa today, the minig is, as far as I know, minig is specifically to take a kos when there are 10 people present. In other words, when you have a zimun, you say Elokeinu. I don't know if there's a source for that, but that I think is generally the custom nowadays. Beis Rabbeinu says he called Deus. Beis says because on all the opinions, because the man wants a kos. According to he who holds you need a cup. You have to look at to find one. If you made a kos to be levarach alav, if you don't have a cup to make the bracha, lo yochal. You shouldn't eat. And perhaps later you will get. Even if you have to skip one meal. If he's saying if that's the case, when two people eat together, therefore, if two people are eating, they can't be owed to each other, there's no timun, so then each one needs a cup. To write the same thing. But it's not, he brings evidence from Abdullah, and it's not a parallel, says Arukh HaShulchan. They call them Abdullah also lechol. For Abdullah, you're not allowed to eat. But for the cup, because you of course are allowed to eat. So by Abdullah, you should by Abdullah you should be mechazer al hakois. Not sure what was he bringing about. Let's see. The kodem Abdullah also the kodem kos hamutal yishloch shakachach ein lo kos ma yaseh. So for Abdullah, you should leave a cup. You should use a chacham sanola. Make sure you have a cup for Abdullah because after you eat, before Abdullah now it's eat. But for to make sure to have a cup left for benching is not as great a concern. I'm not meaning matzim b'brachim, but since you find b'sachim motzei Shabbos kshein lo kos levar birchas hamazon. Motzei Shabbos you have a cup for benching. Ocha b'lo Abdullah you can eat without Abdullah. Mavdila kos birchas hamazon you make Abdullah on the cup of benching. Ayin sham harei the kos chamir kokach. So here we see that the cup is so severe. The necessity for the cup is so severe. Actually, tiru lo lechol kodem Abdullah. To the point that let him eat before Abdullah. Koshkin the beloza ein lo lechol. And it's certainly without that, he should not eat. Shielo meshach hazman kos. The cup will materialize later on. But so elo, he doesn't have it. The tzorich lehamtin. You have to wait. There's the rabbi. Mashik says in brackets. Mashik shemogay bram pesachim kufayim rav le'edar my kashule. Hashem lomari klalim birchas hamazon. Ulai yisrael edein tom kos. O sheyesh birchas hamazon. Maybe it's a case of there's a car cup or he hasn't birchas hamazon. Maybe. Now, based either have a mashid lo yellow coast cloud, ben shai chamtona ein shamduk. You're not going to have a cup at all. There's no requirement to wait. Gimel davar baruch hu shapilu l'man esfilu de'eno tuna kos. It's clear that even those it does require a cup, you come here mitzvah l'barach kos. It's in a mitzvah to make a barach in the cup. Shas masha sheim kulam ayum barachim al hama kos. The shas it seems that they all make a barach in the cup in nesha yaina yotzlam. So because the wine was cheap by then. In countries where wine is prevalent, but zol and it's cheap. Every Hashem should make a bracha on the cup, especially when there's a zimun. The Shabbat says, of course, because he takes the Zohar much more strictly, says dafka when there's a zimun shlosha. But if there's a yachid, it's only yachid, then many achronim are making altogether. But says Arukh HaShulchan, we have a problem. We don't have so much wine in our countries. Gama yain, and the wine which they used to make in the old country, which is made out of raisins, biyoker was very expensive. And even other alcoholic beverages are expensive. We don't have the wherewithal to take a kosher bracha for every meal. But which people should shoysim shechor drink intoxicating beverages every meal? They should. It's proper to make a brachos. V'ashameh yisborach min hashamayim. People listen to this will be blessed from heaven. Tav kosher b'seim by Shulchan Aruch b'siv beis kosher brachos hamazon eina ela shel yain. It's only of wine, mashkin, not of other beverages. I feel covers of dasalem. Even that was what he drank during his meal. There's no wine prevalent in that place. Beer and other types of beverages are the distinguished drink of the country. You can use them anything except for plain water. and I wish some people make the bracha on beer in our countries. You don't have to protest. Till Yeshu and they don't cause clouds. Some people say don't require a cup altogether. Furthermore, the ikar chemadino sheikhar. It's the beer is a primary beverage of the country, and we designate ourselves to have a drinking party, so to speak, on it. But even though there's wine in the city, it's not called prevalent for this matter. It should be okay when it's expensive. It's not feasible to buy wine for every meal to make a bracha on it. Mishnah Berurah says that that's again this if there's not that much wine, but he says not much wine in the city, but in the other specific city, but in other cities in the country, there's a lot of wine, and you should use it in the other cities. Bach writes that even though you're not mechuyev to go find wine to buy it from a storekeeper, unless if you have wine in your house already, you should use it for birchas hamazon. Mishnah writes that that in a case where you're using beer or such like, it's only if you're koveh suda on it. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I guess where you drank it seriously during the meal. Back to Arukh HaShulchan mitzvah and mufchar. The mitzvah and mufchar is to use wine. The best mitzvahs. The way to do is to use wine. Some section baruch even make a bracha as an individual wine. Shalol lechoz hakos b'yadam, not to hold the cup in your hand. Rak nichim asal shulchan lifnei, just put it on the table in front of you. V'nachal minhag zeh p'derech hakabala ad kan l'shono, and this is actually says Arukh HaShulchan is all a quote from the Balei Shulchan Aruch. Actually, where he's going to say the next sif what his opinion is. But so far he's saying that Api Kabbalah is quoting the Chaber, presumably, or the Ramah, that it's proper to put the cup on the table when you're only one person. And we will see more about this tomorrow.